Your kitchen drain did not clog last Tuesday night. I want you to sit with that, because the fella who shows up Wednesday morning is going to let you believe it did. He will run a cable down there, pull out something gray and unpleasant, hand you a bill around $240, and drive off. And you will spend the rest of the week trying to remember what on earth you poured down that sink on Tuesday. Nothing. You poured nothing down there on Tuesday. That drain had been closing for about 11 months. A film of cool grease went onto the pipe wall back in September. Soap and coffee grounds caught on that film through October. By March, the opening was down by a third, and you had started calling it a slow sink. Without noticing, you had started calling it that. Tuesday night was the last millimeter. And the last millimeter is not a plumbing emergency. It is just a Tuesday. So the trade has you paying $240 to buy back that final millimeter over and over for as long as you own the house. I'm going to give you the 1 cup of powder and the 1 Sunday a month that takes the other 11 months off the table. Stay to the end, because I will give you the honest annual cost of running this, including the number the internet keeps getting wrong. This does not start at your drain. It starts at your stove. You cook a pan of bacon. You pour off the fat while it is liquid and golden and behaving itself, and you send it down the sink with plenty of hot water behind it, and the sink swallows it without complaint. Job done, as far as you can tell. But that fat is only liquid because it is hot. 18 inches down the pipe, inside a wall that sits at whatever temperature your house sits at, it cools. And when fat cools, it does exactly what wax does when you tip a candle. It stops moving and it grips whatever it is touching. Your pipe wall is what it is touching. A standard kitchen drain line runs about 1.5 inches to 2 inches across on the inside. Not much room to give away. That first cooled coat is thinner than a coat of paint, and on its own it means nothing at all. The problem is what that coat does to the next one. A clean pipe wall is slick, so grease slides along it. A wall with a coat of hardened fat on it is textured, slightly rough, and rough catches, so the next round of grease sticks more readily than the first did. Then soap scum joins in, then coffee grounds and rice starch, and the little bits off your plates. Every layer makes the wall grabbier for the layer after it. That is the part everything else follows from. It speeds up. It is a process that funds itself. Doctors will tell you the same shape of story about plaque in an artery, and the comparison is not mine. It is one plumbers reach for constantly, because it fits. Narrow the channel, slow the flow, and slower flow drops more material out of suspension, which narrows the channel further. A 2-inch line becomes 1.5 inches. 1.5 inches becomes 1 inch. You never see any of it. You just notice one day that the water hangs around the plug hole a second longer than it used to. Now, if you live in an older house, I have got worse news, and I am not going to soften it. Modern plastic drain pipe has a smooth bore, and grease has relatively little to hold onto. Cast iron and old clay do not. They have corrosion pits, rough joints, ledges at every seam, and fat bonds into every one of them. The same 11 months of cooking in a 1930s house buys you considerably more buildup than it does in a house built last year. And here is what nobody said to you on that Wednesday morning. When a plumber runs a cable down your line, that cable is a drill. It bores a hole through the restriction and restores your flow, and it works. And I have done it thousands of times and charged for it fairly. but it clears a channel through the middle. The coating on the pipe wall, the 11 months of layered fat that caused the whole thing, is largely still sitting there when he packs up the van. So the accumulation does not restart from zero. It restarts from wherever it was. That is the real reason the same drain comes back in 8 months, then 6, then 4, and why by the third visit somebody starts talking about hydrojetting at $350 to $800. Nobody's cheating you. That is honest work, honestly billed. It is just aimed at the last millimeter, because the last millimeter is the part you called about. There is no money in the other 11 months. There is no money in prevention. And I say that as a man who spent his career on the wrong side of that sentence. So let us go and take the 11 months away from it. The stuff that does this costs about $5 and change for a box that'll last you the better part of a year, and it sits on a shelf in the laundry aisle of every grocery store in the country. Washing soda. The chemical name is sodium carbonate, and the reason it belongs in this video and baking soda does not come down to one number. Alkalinity. That is just the opposite end of the scale from acid, and it is measured in pH, where 7 is neutral water. Baking soda sits at about 8.3, barely off neutral. Washing soda sits around 11.5. That sounds like a small gap. It is not, because the pH scale is logarithmic, meaning each whole number is a factor of 10. 8 to 11.5 is not 3 notches up. It is about 1,000 times more alkaline. Those two white powders are not close relatives, and swapping one for the other is the single most common reason this trick fails for people. Here is what that alkalinity actually does inside your pipe, and it is the prettiest bit of chemistry in the whole trade. Strong alkali reacts with fat and converts it into soap. That is not a figure of speech. That is literally how soap has been manufactured for a few thousand years. Alkali plus fat equals soap, and it is called saponification. So when you put a strong alkaline solution against 11 months of hardened grease and give it time, the grease stops being grease. It becomes something that dissolves in water and leaves down the drain like it was always supposed to. You are not blasting the buildup out. You are converting it into something that cannot stay. And that is why this works as a monthly ritual rather than a rescue. You are never asking it to dissolve a blockage. You are asking it to take off a month's worth of film while that film is thin and fresh and soft. Small job done 12 times instead of a big job you cannot do. Before I walk you through exactly how to run it, one quick thing. Everything I teach here, the fixes and the questions to ask before you agree to any work, is in my book, 100 Old House Fixes That Save You Thousands. If you have ever said yes to a repair with no idea whether the price was fair, that book exists so it never happens again. Link is in the description and a code on screen if that is easier. While you have been standing at that one kitchen sink, there are 4 or 5 other drains in the house doing the same arithmetic at their own pace. The bathroom basin, the shower, the tub, the laundry. They are not all building the same deposit, and they do not all want the same treatment. Start with the kitchen, because that is where the grease is. And grease is what actually closes pipes. Here is the ritual. I run it the first Sunday of the month, and pick a fixed day yourself. Because a habit tied to a date survives, and a habit tied to good intentions does not. Sunday evening. After the last person is finished with the sink, put on gloves. Measure out 1 cup of washing soda and pour it straight down the drain, dry. Then run the hot tap. 2 to 3 cups of water in slowly, just enough to carry the powder into the trap and dissolve it. Not a torrent. You want a strong solution sitting in that pipe, not a weak one flushed through. Now leave it alone until morning. 6 to 8 hours with no water running is the whole point of doing this at night, because contact time does the work. Any product promising to strip a pipe in 3 minutes is selling you something. In the morning, before anybody makes breakfast, run the hot tap hard for 30 seconds and flush the whole lot through. That is it. You are finished until next month. Now, water temperature, because this is where I watch people wreck a good pipe trying to be thorough. Hot tap water, not boiling water off the stove. Your tap runs around 120 to 140 degrees, and that is plenty. Boiling water is 212. Drain pipe under a modern sink is usually PVC, rated to about 140 degrees, and its joints are not screwed together. They are chemically welded with solvent cement. Soften that plastic and stress those welds, and you get a sagging pipe or a hairline weep at a joint inside a wall, a leak you will not find until it has been running a month. And the exception matters more than the rule, because it is exactly your situation. If a drain is already slow, boiling water is worse. In a fast drain, it is gone in seconds. In a slow drain, it pools and holds the plastic above its rated temperature until it clears. The drain that most tempts you to reach for the kettle is the drain where the kettle does the most damage. If your house is older and those pipes are cast iron or copper, the metal shrugs off heat, no argument. But that system still has rubber couplings, gaskets, and seals, and rubber does not shrug off 212 degrees repeatedly. Not every drain in your house has the same problem, so not every drain wants the same month. Your kitchen deposit is grease. Alkali is the right tool, so washing soda every month, no debate. Bathroom drains are a different animal. What coats a shower or basin waste is mostly biofilm, a slimy bacterial layer that grows on wet surfaces and feeds on soap residue and skin oils. It is the pink or gray slick just inside the drain. Alkali helps, but oxidizing works better and deals with the smell, which is usually why people are looking at that drain at all. So on bathroom drains, swap in a month of ordinary 3% hydrogen peroxide from the drugstore, $3 to $5 a bottle, poured, and dwelled the same way. Every third or fourth month is plenty. And now the rule that matters more than any of it. 1 chemistry per night, never 2. Do not chase washing soda with vinegar. Half the internet tells you to, and it fizzes impressively. And the fizz is the problem rather than the proof. Vinegar is an acid. Washing soda is a base, and together they neutralize each other. What is left in your pipe once the theater is over is salt water and carbon dioxide. You did not clean anything. You spent $5 building a volcano. And never put peroxide and vinegar in the same trap, because that combination makes peracetic acid a genuine corrosive irritant to skin and airways. Peroxide and bleach together is the same category of mistake. If you have already put one thing down there, that drain is done for the night, which brings me to the part where the ritual on its own is not enough. Because skipping this would be selling you the same false comfort I am complaining about. That monthly cup removes what got past you. It cannot outrun what you keep sending down. Pour a pan of bacon fat down that sink every Sunday morning and treat it every Sunday night, and you have invented a tidy way to break even. So, 3 habits, and the first one is not negotiable. Grease does not go in the drain. Not with hot water behind it, not with dish soap chasing it, not thinned out, not a little bit. Hot water and detergent do not stop grease setting up on your pipe wall. They just carry it further down the line, which moves your clog somewhere more expensive to reach. Keep an old jar under the sink, pour the fat in, and freeze it so it never gets rancid. When it is full, it goes in the trash. That habit alone does more for your kitchen line than every product I have mentioned. Second, mesh strainers. $4 or $5 each, or around $13 for a pack of 3, and they go on every drain in the house. On a shower or bath, that basket is the single most effective thing you can buy, because hair does not dissolve, ever, in anything. Hair turns a manageable film into a net that catches everything else. Clear it when you clean the shower. Third, a 30-second hot flush after greasy washing up. Not to melt buildup, but to keep fresh residue moving past the trap while it is warm and mobile, instead of letting it set 18 inches from your plug hole. Ritual plus habits. Neither one carries this alone. Now, let me be straight about what this does not do, because the title promises one specific kind of clog, and there are others. If your drain is already blocked, and there is standing water in the sink right now, do not run the ritual tonight. A cup of powder poured into standing water dissolves into the sink, not the pipe. It never reaches the deposit. Clear the blockage mechanically first, with a plunger or by opening the trap, then start the ritual from a clear pipe. If the buildup has been there for years, old grease does not stay soft. Fatty acids in the deposit react with calcium in hard water and set into a hard, waxy scale bonded to the pipe. An overnight soak will not lift that. It takes off what is soft on top and holds the line where it is, worth having. But a genuinely scaled cast iron line is a jetting job, and I will not pretend otherwise. And none of this touches a clog that is not a deposit at all. Something dropped down there. Tree roots in the line to the street. A section of pipe that has sagged and holds water at the low point. If every drain in the house is slow at once, or you are getting sewage smell, or water comes up in one fixture when you run another, that is a main line problem and not yours to fix. Call somebody. That is the one category where a wrong move gets expensive fast. Septic households. One adjustment. Washing soda is labeled safe for septic systems, and a cup a month will not upset a healthy tank. But if you are on septic and already careful about what goes in there, enzyme and bacterial treatments are arguably a better fit, because they add the same family of bacteria your tank runs on rather than adding alkalinity. $8 to $15 a bottle, used the same way, at night, with a long dwell. Both paths are legitimate. Washing soda is simply cheaper. Handling, and then the number I promised. Wear gloves. Sodium carbonate is caustic and an eye irritant, and the reason it strips grease off your pipe is the same reason it strips the oils out of your skin and leaves your hands cracked. It gives off no fumes, but it is not baking soda and must not be handled like it. Keep the box closed and up high, away from children and pets, and never put it down a drain that has commercial drain cleaners sitting in it, because you do not know what you are mixing. Right? The number. You will see it claimed everywhere that this runs about $1 a month for the whole house. I have done the arithmetic properly, because a figure that falls apart when somebody checks it costs me more than it gains. A 55-ounce box runs about $5 and change and holds roughly 6 or 7 cups. 1 cup a month on the kitchen drain gets you 6 months from a box. So the kitchen line, treated 12 months a year, costs somewhere near $11. That is the real number, and I am happy to stand behind it. But if you are treating 3 drains every month, you are buying 6 boxes a year, and you are closer to $32. Still trivial. Just not the same trivial. Now hold that against the other column. A plumber clearing a single fixture runs $100 to $275, with the national average right around $245. If that drain comes back and somebody recommends jetting, that is $350 to $800. The trade will also tell you a drain benefits from professional cleaning every year or two, and for a house that pours grease down the sink, that is honest advice. So the arrangement on offer is roughly $245 every year or two forever, to keep buying back that last millimeter. Against $32 a year, a pair of gloves, and one Sunday night you spend 2 minutes on. That is the whole argument. No catch, no product I am steering you toward, and no reason it was kept from you beyond the plain fact that nobody in my trade gets paid for the 11 months. So do this. Get out whatever you keep your appointments in right now and put a repeating entry on the first Sunday of every month. 2 words, kitchen drain. That is all it needs to say. Because the difference between the homeowner who never has a clog and the homeowner who has one every 11 months is not luck. And it is not the pipe. It is a recurring entry on a calendar. That is the whole secret. And now it is on yours. If this saved you a service call, there are 99 more like it in my book. 100 old house fixes that save you thousands. It catches small leaks before they take out a floor or ceiling, and tells you when a cheap patch is genuinely fine and when it is only deferring a bigger bill. Link is in the description, and the on-screen code goes there too. If you want more of these, subscribe to Roger the Pipe Guy. Old house fixes that keep your money where it belongs.